Hi, everybody. This is Marilyn. Do we have any audio for today? Great, thanks. Hello, everybody. This is Marilyn, and it is time for the noon edition of Welcome to My World. This is the 12th of April, which is a Tuesday. And my goodness, we've had a lot of good bus drivers today so far. Which is a real pleasant change from, I don't know, last week or week before we had we had some of the worst bus drivers I think we've had in a while. Nothing can compare to how terrible they were in August, though. They were really bad. The good ones must have been on vacation and they had substitute bus drivers. I don't know. Anyway, today we have had the indices have all traded pretty much in unison. They all kind of bounced around to the downside until about about 10:30. Yep, 10:30. If there's going to be a big turnaround, 10:30 is a likely time of day for that to happen. And then they all made a really nice move up from that. Canadian dollar has moved up today with crude oil, and I think, uh, I keep saying if you're going to trade crude oil, you need to be prepared for absolutely anything at any time because anything can happen. And things that affect crude oil are not necessarily all of a sudden what some 3 or 4 big hedge fund managers decide to do. It is almost always international news, and this is a case of buy the rumor. So what happened right there is that Bloomberg released a notice that the Saudis and the Russians have come to a preliminary agreement, at least before this OPEC meeting in Doha on I think it's the 17th, the end of the week, that yes, they would like to freeze production in order to drive the price of oil up. The Saudis are very anxious to get that done because they're running a 35 to 37 billion dollar deficit, and they've never seen a deficit in their entire lives since they struck oil. So they don't quite know how to handle their economy. They have never really diversified their economy. They are 100% dependent on oil production. And so we'll see what the final outcome of that meeting is, but that burst was because the two big producers, Russia and the Saudis, have made an agreement. The Iranians have quite a bit of oil they would really like to sell, and they're not too particular at this point about what the price is, but at least their finance minister, whoever he is, released a statement that they are in agreement that production will have to be cut in order to boost the prices of oil. And we have somebody here in the chat, Lou. That's great. Yes, their silly little deficit doesn't even compare to the $19 trillion that we have. But at least we have people in the government that are dumb enough to think they can do something about it. So, I guess that's why this is my view. Anyway, we have had, the dollar has been both directions today, and a lot of that is because of that news. So stay tuned. The other thing that can suddenly, just out of the blue, affect crude oil in a huge way if you're in a trade is for the news to blast something about a bunch of oil fields being blown up with these assorted and sundry bombing runs, and or I mean, don't discount what the Middle East has done in the past in Iraq is when Saddam deliberately lit their fields on fire and destroyed them. So those kinds of things cause a lot of movement in commodities and oil in particular. So let's see. We've got the VIX was coming up a little bit this morning, and since the indices have all been boosted right at that 10:30, 11 o'clock time range, the VIX has fallen off a little bit. I'm not sure. The markets are very nervous to see uh, what is going to be announced with these interest rates. And the other thing that is of great import to people watching markets is this vote that the Brits are going to have about remaining in the Eurozone. And I believe that comes in June, but there's a lot of speculation on that, and it will definitely affect the pound currency pair crosses if you trade Forex. So, let's see. I found bonds this morning a little choppy and difficult. I managed to get, I don't know, 2 or 3 ticks here and there off of that, but that's not really the way you want to trade bonds. I'm really trying to learn how to do this, so maybe we can all benefit from it. But I stayed in demo, so no harm, no foul. But gold has produced some nice trades this morning using the apex patterns and the apex indicators. These institutional volume zones, the buy and sell zones, are really good, and gold is very respectful of those zones. So if you have an interest in trading gold, absolutely have a pretty close stop on it. And I'm finding that those zones are, if you can get a zone and you can get an apex E, depending on your direction off of those things are really nice. For the NQ traders today, you sure had a nice run on that market. That was really a nice market for today. I think probably one of the better ones. So let's see. Tomorrow in our news, the news is picking up now. Tomorrow will be Wednesday. We have U.S. economic numbers coming out at 8:30. Canadian is at 10 o'clock. They're announcing their overnight rates and their the Bank of Canada rate statement and a bunch of that kind of stuff, which affects the Canadian dollar. And the reason I mention that is because the Canadian dollar is tied very closely to crude oil. Inventory is tomorrow, crude oil inventory at 10:30. And there'll be a Bank of Canada press conference following that at 11:15. And then tomorrow at 1 is the 10-year note auction. So there are some people who are watching the ZN, which is the 10-year. ZB is the 30-year. ZB moves a little bit bigger in bigger ticks. The tick sizes are $31.25 tick, and in ZN, the notes, I believe it's $8.75 or something. It's quite a bit less, and they are both highly liquid. So that's the key. If you're new to this and you say, oh, well, you have a friend who trades lumber futures or something, be real, real careful about some of these markets because they do not have the liquidity. You have to be have very deep pockets and be a pretty sophisticated trader of that particular commodity. But when there's lots and lots of liquidity like ZB and ZN and all of the US indices, crude oil, gold, the currencies are the main ones are pretty liquid. That's the key. Otherwise, you can't get in and you can't get out. And then on the other hand, with something like ES, which is the S&P, it kind of goes overboard the other way. It's the most highly traded market on the planet Earth. So if you're trading your little one contract and you're going up against the big boys with their 271 contracts, guess who gets filled first? And who can get in and who can get out? So that's why I kind of leave that alone. Anyway, we've had lots of new people, I think, coming in, and I just wanted to welcome you all and let you know that the key to learning this, there is one way and one way only as far as we've ever been able to figure out, and that is to mark your own charts. Well, why don't you people, I used to mark my charts. It locks up the system. It takes a lot of time, and frankly, it doesn't do you any good. It does me a lot of good. You have to mark your own charts, and it's not the idea that you took these entries. That's not the point. What you're doing is training your eye to recognize the entries. If you don't recognize the entries, it's like somebody who says they're going to go deer hunting and they're taking a shotgun with them, and the next thing you want to know is, well, number one, why would you do that? And number two, have you ever seen a deer before? And then they say, well, no, I haven't really seen one, but I think I'll know it when I see it. Well, that probably isn't going to work out real well. So it's a matter of training your eye. You have to know what you're looking for. And the only way that I know to do that, and I think Lori has even got a bigger soapbox than I do about, if that's possible, is to mark your own charts and put them in, get some feedback on them, because a lot of times you've got some setting that is a little bit off for some reason, or you didn't quite understand what the rules were thought you did, but somebody can tell you in a second what you're missing. So please do mark your charts. And if you have questions and you don't get an answer right away, just ask again. It's not a problem. We get busy. Everybody in here gets busy, and just flat didn't see it. So the chat just rolled on back. You're not being a pest. You're not being obnoxious. Just keep on asking until you get your answer. Somebody will help you. Okay? So I think that's about it. Just be careful of 8:30 tomorrow morning if you are trading at that time of day, because there is a lot of economic numbers coming out tomorrow. So with that, I think we'll wrap this up. This has been my view from my world in Apex land, brought to you by Apex Investing. I'll see you tomorrow. Thanks.